Security cameras capture the moment a 77-year-old woman climbs over a railing. A mother doesn't hesitate for even a second before diving into the water after her child. And a federal judge just made a decision at 11:59 p.m. that's going to save you a lot of money. Hi, I'm Melissa, a university professor who loves to cruise and who loves to talk ship. Now, if you tune in to my channel, you probably notice I'm in unfamiliar settings. Yes, I'm actually on a cruise. I do cruise news in a timely fashion. I'm not at home in my studio, so you're getting this live from an actual cruise ship. And I'm on a Holland America Line cruise on Rotterdam. And that ties in nicely with our first story because this just happened on a different Holland America Line ship. I'm on a New Year's cruise. This was a New Year's cruise. People keep asking me about it. It didn't happen on my ship, but let me tell you what I'm talking about. Now, this is a story that's been making headlines since New Year's Day, and it is a tough one. A 77-year-old woman went overboard from Holland America's New Statendam while sailing about 40 miles northeast of Cuba. The ship was on its way to Key West when this happened, and according to investigators, security footage shows the guest climbing over the railing, and the authorities believe the act was intentional. Now, I just rang in New Year's on a Holland America Line cruise ship. Holland does a great job. They bring out a live band on the Lido deck. Everybody comes out and celebrates. So it's just crazy that this happened, and it happened on New Year's. The U.S. Coast Guard deployed a cutter and a helicopter. The ship and Coast Guard crews searched for about 8 hours, covering 690 square miles. But after sunset, the search was suspended. The ship canceled its planned Key West port of call the next day and returned to Fort Lauderdale. Holland America released a statement expressing their sadness and confirming that their family assistance team is supporting the guest's family. And Disney Cruise Line, which had a ship in the area, also reportedly responded to help assist in the search effort. Now, this appears to be the first reported overboard incident of 2026, following at least a dozen man overboard cases reported last year in 2025. According to a 2020 study by the Cruise Lines International Association, or CLIA, fewer than 30% of man overboard incidents result in a successful rescue. And this part matters. Most cruise ship overboard incidents, they're not accidental. Trust me, it's very hard to just fall off a ship. Railings and safety barriers are designed to prevent falls, which means that the majority of these incidents involve intentional acts or just extremely reckless behavior. So if you're sailing this year, it's important to understand that cruise ships are designed with safety in mind. These standards exist for a reason, and as long as you're not intentionally yeeting yourself off a ship or acting foolish, you're pretty darn safe. You're not gonna just plop off a ship. Now, in complete contrast, let's talk about a story with a much happier ending. Right around Christmas at Carnival's Celebration Key, a 4-year-old girl briefly walked away from her mother and fell into the water between the dock and the ship, being Carnival Sunrise. Now, without hesitation, her mother immediately jumped in after her. That video went viral on TikTok, and it shows crew members and pier workers scrambling with life rings and a ladder. And you can hear people screaming and see the tension as both the child and the mother are pulled up to safety. The video has already received over 1.4 million views, and the mother later reached out to the person who posted the video and shared that while she and her daughter are understandably shaken, neither was injured. Thank goodness. Carnival has confirmed that the ship and security team quickly brought them both to safety and that their medical team evaluated them, and both are doing well. But this is an important reminder about cruise piers. There are no railings along the edges of those piers because ships have to pull right up and tie up and access equipment. That's why there's these bright yellow lines painted near the edges. So be cognizant of that, and if you're traveling with young children who don't recognize what those lines mean, keep them away from those lines, keep them in the middle of the pier, and hold their hands always, always, always when walking the pier. And kudos to the crew and to the mom for jumping in and saving the day. Now, if that story had you holding your breath, wait till you hear about what just happened in Hawaii with a tax that had cruisers seriously reconsidering their sailings. Now, I talked about this in last week's cruise news, and a lot of folks said that they're reconsidering cruising to Hawaii because of it. But on New Year's Eve, just hours before it was scheduled to take effect, the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals issued an injunction blocking Hawaii from enforcing a new cruise passenger tax. The tax, part of Act 96, which is often referred to as the Green Fee, was intended to fund climate resilience projects like shoreline protection and wildfire prevention. Now, the tax would have imposed an 11% levy on gross cruise fares, prorated based on the number of days ships spend in Hawaiian ports. Counties could have added an additional 3% surcharge, bringing that total up to 14%. Hawaii estimated that the tax would generate nearly $100 million per year. The Cruise Lines International Association, CLIA, filed a lawsuit arguing that the tax violates the U.S. Constitution and would make cruising significantly more expensive while harming tourism. Norwegian Cruise Line had already begun notifying guests that 2026 fares could increase by hundreds of dollars. A district judge initially upheld the law, but CLIA appealed. And on December 31st, 2 judges granted an injunction injunction temporarily halting enforcement while the appeals process continues. Now, Hawaii's Attorney General says that the state remains confident that the law will ultimately be upheld. But for now, if you're cruising to Hawaii in early 2026, you're not going to have to pay that extra cruise tax. Hotel and vacation rental taxes, those did go into effect, increasing from 10.25% to 11%. But the cruise tax, at least for now, is blocked. So I want to know, would you pay an extra 11 to 14% on top of your cruise fare if it meant funding environmental protection, or should that burden fall elsewhere? Next up, let's talk about some ship upgrades. By the way, I'm on Rotterdam. It's a very nice new ship, very updated, very nice stateroom. But another cruise line that's making some updates is Norwegian Cruise Line. They've announced that 2 Jewel-class ships are heading into dry dock this spring. Norwegian Jade will be dry docked from April 19th to May 4th, followed by Norwegian Gem from April 24th through May 11th. Both ships are getting the adults-only Vibe Beach Club, replacing the additional sun deck that's on deck 14. The space will also include a new hot tub, 54 premium lounge chairs, 7 private cabanas, full-service bar, and perks like chilled towels and fruit skewers. Guests will be able to pre-book access, which matters because this space often sells out. And Norwegian Jade is also getting a new Starbucks on deck 7. After the refresh, Jade will sail 7-day Alaska cruises, while Gem will focus on the Mediterranean and Greek Isles itineraries from Venice and Rome. Now, also in Norwegian news, there's a lot going on with Norwegian. They have just named a new president, Mark Kazlauskas. He's going to start on January 19th, and he brings more than 30 years of travel industry experience, most recently as CEO of Avoya Travel. So congrats on this new position. Now for a cautionary tale. 2 Dutch passengers on Norwegian Sun missed their ship in Puerto Princesa in the Philippines after taking a self-organized independent excursion to the underground river by motorcycle. They misunderstood the ship's 5 p.m. departure time, arrived too late, and got to watch the ship sail away from them. And safety rules and protocols prevented the ship from turning back around to get them. These passengers later flew to Manila and then on to Cataclan to rejoin the ship at the next port. Local tourism officials say incidents like this, they happen. We know this. If you cruise, you know if you take an independent excursion, it's at your own risk. And if you don't manage your time well, you miss the ship, you are responsible for catching up, and it's on your own dime, and those expenses can add up quickly. So I'm a big fan of independent excursions. I almost take them exclusively. I don't like cruise line excursions. I think they're overpriced and overcrowded, but this is a cautionary tale. So you got to be good with time management if you want to go out on your own. Next is a bit of a sad to heartwarming story that has sparked a massive online response. A Florida foster mom named Amber Copland posted a viral video after Carnival denied boarding for one of her foster children due to documentation issues. Now, she claims that she called ahead, she confirmed the requirements, and was told she just needed a specific letter, which she did get. But when embarkation day came, the crew at the terminal said, sorry, you don't have the documents you need for these children. We can't let you board. So she was left behind at the port. Those in her family that were able to sail that had the required documents, they went off and she stayed behind. And the response was really encouraging. Hilton, kudos to Hilton. Hilton really stepped in, and kudos to Hilton for doing this. And seeing this story, seeing her video, it was a very tearful story that she said. It was very heartbreaking. And Hilton stepped in to offer hotel stays. Fox Car Rental provided a vehicle, and a bunch of others jumped in to offer assistance to help her have a nice time in Florida with her foster children. Now, as of the time I made this video, at least from what I've been able to find, Carnival has not issued a public response, but this story highlights how difficult travel can be for foster families. My best friend is a foster mom. She's now adopted her child, so she has an easier time traveling, but when there's still foster children, that can be difficult. And it's tough sometimes to know what is the right documentation, especially when you call and think you're getting correct information. So my recommendation for cruisers is to always call twice, get names of people that you talk to, record it if you have to, getting their permission, of course, but you always have to play it extra safe with this kind of stuff. Now, I have another Carnival story, and this is involving parents, and this actually also has a good outcome. A parent shared on Reddit that their 14-year-old son and friends damaged a coin pusher machine in the arcade. You know, it's the ones where you put a coin in and it hopefully pushes a bunch of coins and other things off, and you therefore win more than you put in, right? In theory. Now, this kid and his friend damaged this machine because apparently they were shaking it trying to get money out of it. Carnival checked security tapes, they saw who did it, they found the kid and his family, and they fined the family for $500 for a code of conduct violation plus $264 for repairs. Now, what I like about this story is the parents took complete accountability. They grounded their son, they made him pay back every single penny of these costs that he incurred. So a lot of cruisers on Reddit were celebrating this and saying, good job, parents. Your kid did something dumb, but you made him be accountable. And that's what we all need to see and want to see. Finally, let's talk about the pooping and the puking. Yep, it's gastrointestinal illness season in cruise world. It is what it is. We are on a floating petri dish. People say that all the time about cruising, and they say it facetiously, and I love cruising, but yeah, it is kind of true. Celebrity Eclipse recently crossed the CDC's reporting threshold during an 8-day Caribbean cruise. And that sounds alarming, but context matters. Cruise ships must report illness rates above 3%, which is far more rigorous tracking than is required on land. And while, of course, cruise ships can be floating petri dishes, according to the CDC, only about 1% of norovirus cases occur on cruise ships. AAA estimates that 20.7 million Americans cruised in 2025, with nearly 22 million expected this year in 2026. So increased cruising, of course, is going to increase reported cases. But no matter how you want to code it, what kind of numbers you want to look at, cruising is a risk when it comes to health. These staterooms are small, you can disinfect all you want, but you are sharing a contained space with shared ventilation with thousands of other people. So getting sick, it can happen. And that's why it's important they have travel insurance. I'll drop my link below. I'll get you an instant quote. If you're interested in an annual travel insurance plan, it's a bargain. You buy one plan, it covers you, your whole household for all of your travel for the entire year. And wherever you get travel insurance, through my team, through me, whatever, I don't care, just get it somewhere. And also, wash your hands.